The views expressed on this program are not those of IntellectualRadio.com, its subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. This is another Relationship Monday, and our topic today is peaceful co-parenting. Is it possible? We just heard from Roman with the Drive at 5. We're asking that you keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. We're going to hear a word from our sponsor.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emanuel C.O.G.I.C. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emanuel C.O.G.I.C. at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emanuel C.O.G.I.C-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson, and we are from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
All right, check them out every Sunday morning at 10:15 a.m. on the Facebook page. We are going to go into our quote of the day. The best security blanket a kid can have is parents who will always respect each other. Your trending topics are House Democrats introduced an article of impeachment against President Donald Trump on Monday, inciting insurrection in the wake of last week's deadly riot at the U.S. Capitol. The 4-page resolution notes Trump direct responsibility for inciting a studious mob that proceeded to violently overwhelm the Capitol and interfere with the joint session's solemn constitutional duty to certify the results of the 2020 presidential election. Trump's January 2nd phone call to Georgia Secretary of State, where the president encouraged him to find votes to overturn President-elect Joe Biden's victory there. As it stands, the first full session at which the impeachment could be considered is January the 19th, the day before Biden's inauguration. The House impeachment managers would then present the articles either on January 19th or January the 20th. Should Trump be convicted by the Senate, he would be barred from holding elected office again. Also trending, Trump had incited violence all along. The GOP just didn't care until now. He had continuously gone after Muslims, Americans, journalists, protesters, and others. Where was the outrage then? After President Donald Trump urged a mob of his supporters to storm the U.S. Capitol, some Republicans have finally had enough. At least 10 of Trump administration officials have resigned since Wednesday's attack, in which 5 people, including a police officer, has died. Many of the people who broke into the Capitol on Wednesday came straight from a nearby Stop the Steal rally, where Trump continued to insist that there was no way he could have lost the 2020 election without fraud or without cheating. For the ones who have spoken out, Trump's rhetoric finally came to their front door, and it was too close for them to say they hadn't seen it. Those are your trending topics for today. Joining me right now is none other than motivational speaker, cancer advocate, and the founder of the Gal Foundation, Rizal Gilmore. Hello, Rizal.
Hello, Lady ReShell. Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Second show of the new year.
Yes, I'm so excited about the show today. We had a good show last week. A lot of people was really into it. They commented. I got a lot of feedback after the show. So I'm really excited about the show today. We already got people chiming in. Hello, my Leah. Mylia says,
Hey,
thanks for
Mylia.
sharing that quote. She loved the quote. Hey, Shanera. Hey, you guys, like and share the show for me. We have a good show for today. Mylia said, there's so much going on in the world. Thank you for your topics, your trending topic segment. Thank you. I appreciate that. Our topic again for today is peaceful co-parenting. Is it possible? So you already know what to do. Like and share the show. Invite somebody else in on the show. Don't be afraid to comment, start a watch party. We're going to go ahead and we're going to break down this subject on today. Peaceful co-parenting. Is it possible? So last week we talked about, stop denying your father from seeing their child. And this kind of go hands in hand because a father is considered a co-parent. I know sometimes we think, when the child is with the mother, that there's only one parent, but no, there's two co-parents that should be co-parenting equally. But is it possible that they can do it peacefully? So Rizal, let's get into the topic. So what is co-parenting? Co-parenting is having both parents play an active role in their child's life daily. So that's two parents doing something for the child daily. So Rizal, what is your opinion on peaceful co-parenting?
There's a saying that I always go by. Nothing is guaranteed, but anything is possible. So it is possible for two parents to get along and co-parent. Sometimes it don't always turn out that way because one is more, what's the word? One is more opinionated on how things should be ran or done than the other a lot of times, and it causes a lot of conflict between the two individuals. But I think that they should be able to have a civilized conversation about what's best for the child.
For co-parenting, I think the first thing they need to do is get co-parenting counseling, some type of counseling that they both need to figure out exactly, what co-parenting is, because everybody has their own definition of what it is and everybody think that they're right. So I think co-parenting counseling would be an awesome way to start it off, just so everybody can be on the same level playing field, going into this co-parenting thing, because it can be really, it can be really depressing when you think one parent has more control than you, when this is your child too. You should have just as an equal say so in their life.
Well, do you think they need to go to counseling right away and not just give it a try, give it a shot first before having to take that step? Like, okay, we're going to need some help with this, because that's almost like when we put the courts into the business and decide, where the child, or if you got to pay child support or not. If you're both, civilized individuals, that shouldn't even, there should be even no involvement, with courts or anything like that. So I think before we go to counsel, that should be almost like a last step, instead of just coming out like, all right, we're going to co-parent, let's go to counsel and do this, because only y'all know what y'all have and what's going to be best for the child. Now, if y'all can't get along, in certain instances, or you don't agree on certain things, and that's just a constant where it's kind of breaking up the household, the peace, not between just y'all, but all three, all four y'all, or whatever amount of children that you may have, then I would think that counseling may need to come into play for the parents, because they need to know how to get along.
I think that, if you're not together anymore, if you're divorced or you're separated, or you just had a kid and you guys are not together, I think counseling should be the first thing that you should do, because when you're together, you make all these type of promises and, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Somebody is going to renege on those promises. So counseling kind of sets the tone for, this is how we're going to move forward in this. When it's two people who have been hurt, somebody is hurt in the situation. So you know what? Let's get somebody else to, like a mediator, to come in, so that, it won't be one-sided. Because I guarantee you, if we sit down together and we try to figure out, it's going to be one-sided, because somebody is going to be spearheading the conversation on, what it is that they want. But if you have someone in the middle, looking at, both individuals, then it can kind of be fair versus, one person coming in with their own agenda. So I feel, this is just my opinion, that counseling should be the first step that they should do when it comes to co-parenting. It's going to eliminate a lot of different trial and errors moving forward.
And I think it should be the last step, because I think that you may somewhere find along the line what you guys were missing while trying to co-parent, and maybe you can figure it out and maybe even get back together. So there is no co-parenting. Y'all can work on the relationship and then boom, there you have it. But if it comes to a point where it's just constant shenanigans between the two, then I would suggest seeking some type of help.
And I think that's where a lot of confusion comes in, is because, one person may think, oh, we're getting back together, and the other person is just using this situation to get their way. So then they're going to use the other person to kind of like say, oh, well, you don't have to do this. Don't do the child support. Oh, I'll come get them twice a week or maybe every other weekend. And then they stop coming to get them all together. Now you're stuck with the child the majority of the time while this person is out enjoying them lives like they're single. So I feel like, a lot of times we like to shy away from counseling. We like to leave it out of the mix. But you know what? You have two dysfunctional people who are together that could not make it work. Now you're going to try to make this co-parenting work? No, get some help. Bring some help into the situation. If you wait until the end of the situation, when you feel like, oh, we just can't do anything anymore, that child or those children are suffering. And they shouldn't be. Our main priority should be the kids.
Always. The focus should be on the kids, not the other individual, what they're doing, where they going, or anything like that. There's probably still some bitterness or whatever that's going on because the relationship didn't work out and somebody's living their best life or whatever the case. And why am I stuck with the kid? Why you living your best life? No, because I want to live my best life too. You need to come get the kid. And it just becomes a constant back and forth. So I understand the boundaries and the fairness, what needs to be made within that process. It's only fair. If I got him this weekend or her this weekend, then you need to have them next weekend, or however that we set it up and we discussed it.
And that's why it's important to get that agreement, that parenting agreement, so that, if you say that you're going to get him, and we know things happen, if you say that you're going to get him a certain amount of time and then you keep reneging on it, and then you're not pulling your weight, you bring in a parenting agreement. So when that person does not do what they're supposed to do, they suffer the consequences of it. And it's not one-sided. Each parent needs to carry their own weight.
I mean, yeah, you can't disappoint the child, especially if they're looking forward. You say you're going to pick them up on Saturday and you just cold blankly don't show up. Then, yeah, that's a whole different story. You're not living up to your obligation for the contract or as a parent, father, mother, whichever one. So, yeah, you can't disappoint the child because a lot of times they really be looking forward to that time. It's already hard enough on them that you and mommy aren't getting along or you're not together, especially if they were so used to seeing that. And I guess that's for married couples. So, married couples relationships, it kind of play out differently between the two.
So when you're setting up these boundaries, when you're starting to co-parent, you have to be clear about, what it is that we're doing so that everybody will understand, okay, this is what we're going to be doing. This is how we're going to be doing it. And you already know the reason why you're going to be doing it, because of the child or the children. You be clear in your actions, be firm in what it is that, you want and you're asking for. And then be consistent. Don't, if you're going to do something, because children, they love consistency. They're all about being consistent. They look forward to it. And then be respectful towards each other. Don't, treat each other, at one point in time, you loved each other. You were together. You wanted to be each other's everything. And now all of a sudden you can't even stand to look at this person. You don't love the smell of them anymore. So now you don't want to be around them, and you're doing any and everything you can not to be there. And then the child can feel it. The child can tell when you are being disrespectful towards the other parent. So just make sure that you're being clear, you're being firm, you're being consistent, and you're being respectful when it comes to setting those boundaries of how we're going to move forward with co-parenting.
It sounds very good when it's coming out of our mouth, but we know things happen, things come up, things change. You may get a boyfriend or a girlfriend that's like, well, your child was just with you last weekend. Why you got to get him this weekend? Like, why we can't go do X, Y, and Z? So sometimes you may have some negative things going on in your head, like, you know what, because you're trying to please this person now that you're with, and they're trying to get you to neglect your duties as a parent. So how do you handle that situation when you're trying to please this one? I mean, it all comes down to the kid, but we know parents, sometimes we do disappoint.
So at the end of the day, the number one thing is the child. If you're with somebody and they're trying to get you to neglect your parent duties, then that's not a person that you want to be with. So I would just cut it off. I wouldn't even try to make it go any further, because my child comes first. My child is going to be around longer than probably that person will be. So you know what? When you meet, you let that person know what your boundaries are too. My child comes first. This is what it is. This is the type of thing. This is why we should be setting up parent agreements with the courts. You set it up with the courts because 9 times out of 10, we're going to fall through. We're not going to follow it. Somebody is going to be doing more than the other person. Somebody's going to feel like, they're carrying most of the weight. And when you're dealing with a person, sometimes it may be hard to reason with that person to try to be fair with you. And I know most people hate to say get the courts involved, but when the courts are involved, people tend to do what they're supposed to do. Or they pay the consequences for not doing it.
Well, even if y'all set something up, say it's every other weekend, somewhere during the week, the child has to be somewhere during the week. And more than likely that child is with their mother most of the time. The child ends up with their mother. So they're going to favor being with the mother more. So I think the child is going to think, well, I'm with mommy all the time more. She does this and does that. They're going to start to favor more towards that mother.
It's all about quality, not quantity. It's all about quality. If you're spending quality time with somebody, they're going to remember that versus you're with them all the time and there is nothing of substance coming out of that time. So it's all about quality versus quantity.
Well, you're talking 5 days during the week, during a work week versus 2 days over a weekend. I mean, come on, the 5 outweigh the 2. And actually the 7 will outweigh that because if it's mommy's weekend. So mommy got him for 7 straight days. No, more than that, because she got to wait till the following weekend just before she get a break if it's her week. That's a lot on her.
It's a lot on her, and that's why one person should not be carrying the weight. It should be both of those parents co-parenting. Everybody is carrying their own weight. And when you think about the quality versus the quantity, if I'm with mommy 7 days a week and when we get home, mommy is in her room with the door shut and I'm just sitting in the living room or in my room doing my own thing, that's not quality time. But when I'm spending time with daddy, we're up and out. He's reading to me. We're playing games. It's very interactive. That's quality time. So, the time is what you do with the time that really matters.
Well, dad only got 2 days, so he's trying to cram everything what he can into that time frame because his time is running short. He's only got 48 hours versus a mom who got, almost like half a month or so with the child.
So if you want to see your child more, then get joint custody. You can get visitation rights for as many days as you want. You guys come to an agreement and stick with it. So if you want to see the child more, then say, hey, I want the child 4 days a week or 3 days a week. Let's do it. Let's make it even so that you're not carrying all of that weight and so that I can get that quality time in with my child instead of just saying, oh, the mother got the child all the time. No, stand up, speak up. That's your child too. At the end of the day, that's your child too. And the child deserves to spend time with the mother and the father.
So do you think it's fair to say every 3 days, say first 3 days, child is with mom. Next 3 days, child is with dad. Next 3 days, child is with mom. Next 3 days, child is with dad. I mean, spending the night, everything. Staying with dad. So you're sharing that equal weight. He's not there. The child isn't there 7 days a week, and I don't have to wait till the weekend. I know Junior or Princess is going to be there for these 3 days because this is my time. So now I can plan around and cram my time into these 3 days. And then I know the next 3 days when that child comes back that we can plan and do something else.
Well, I mean, it's fair only if, we're in a situation to where we're close enough to where we're not, we're in the same kind of living situation. So we're not, pulling the kid a long way from where they need to be. So if we live around each other, then yeah, we're close enough to where you can get the kid, 3 days a week and be able to drop the kid off at school, pick the kid up. And then when it's my turn, I do the same thing. Yeah, that will work out. Again, we should be working to be allies and not adversaries. We should be working. We're on the same team because we have the child, our children in mind. So we should be at all times, working together, working as partners, whether we are, involved, romantically, or whether we're just co-parenting. We still should be working as a team, and the child should always see us working as a team.
Yes, and not be using as a pawn to get back at the other parent.
If you're doing that, then you need to grow up. You need to grow up. You're a child yourself. If you're using that child to try to, make that parent feel some sort of way, you need to go get counseling. You need to go get help. You need to be an example for your child. You need to set an example for your child to be able to, mimic his life and be able to make decisions off of, what they see their parents do.
Because it happens. I see it. I still see it today with especially a lot of the younger parents and even some of the older ones. I see it today happening, how they use the child against the dad, and, how the mom or dad, they'll say things and talk bad about them. And, if there is a new love connection in one of the other life, oh, let me know what they be doing, especially if you don't get along, with the person, and you just adding a lot of confusion and chaos to the situation, and the child don't know which way to go. If there's another woman or man involved, it's you now just got you have a bonus person, that's involved to help you, guide you, through these challenging times.
And you shouldn't be with anybody that you would not want to leave your child with. So, if you get a good feeling from this person, and you would actually leave your child with that person, and you're not around to like supervise, just be careful who you date. And if you don't want to introduce them to your children, then don't. If you feel like it's not going anywhere, then don't. But who I date is my business. Who you date is your business. At the end of the day, if you feel like that's a good person, and at one point in time I felt that you had a good judge of character, then okay. I'm not going to be like, oh, I need to interview this lady, if she's going to be around my child. I will see her and, try to get a good feel of her and, try to listen. I'm not going to pry my baby and be like, what was she doing? Did she say something to you? Did she treat you bad? I'm just going to try to get a sense of how, this woman is around my baby. If my baby tells me anything, I'm going to address it with the dad and say, look, I don't know what's going on, but baby girl said this, baby boy said this, handle it. But a lot of times we're still in love with the other person. We're still mad at the other person. We're bitter. So we try to make their situation difficult because we're not with them anymore.
Correct. I agree with you fully. What preparations, other than having a talk, and I know it comes down to communication, can we take to brace our children once they see us with someone else other than mommy and daddy? Because seeing my dad, my mother, whoever, that's all we know. But then when mommy gets a new boyfriend or daddy gets a new girlfriend, things are kind of change. And, even the kid may even have a little resentment, like, oh, you're not my mother, you're not my daddy, So trying to prepare them for this life change, because it is a life-changing situation. trying to build them up to, getting used to something that could be the norm, especially if you're going to be with this person long term, forever, or whatever the case. They're going to be in your child's life. They're going to be in the picture. And if your child isn't used to seeing that, it could be some consequences going on.
So at this point, you should be, when you guys separated, when you and the father separated, there should be some conversations being had. And if you need to get your child into counseling, do that. We should be having conversations with the child, because a lot of times they're vibing off of us. If we have this little stanky vibe or whatever, they're taking cues from us. So if we have a relationship with our partner to where, we're partners, and they see that we're partners, we're operating as partners, and they can't pin us against each other, and we're not introducing them to, everybody that, we come in contact with, but this is someone serious that we think is going somewhere. Children are resilient. They are resilient. And, a lot of times we try to blame it on the child, but they really get over it because they feed from us. Now, if we have an issue with it, they're going to take our energy and they're going to be like, okay. Now, if they're getting a cue from maybe the other parent, like, your mom treated me bad, or she don't want to be with me, I want to be with her, then yeah, that child may have some sort of, feelings going on. Like, what's wrong with my mom? Why she don't want to be with my dad? But as parents, we set the tone. And if we're not setting the tone for our kids to say, it's okay if this doesn't work out for you to move on and be with somebody else. It's okay to try to work it out. And if it doesn't work out and you've gotten help, it's okay to move on and be with someone else where you can be happy. You don't have to be stuck in a situation to where you're not happy with this person. You don't want to be with this person. A lot of times we say, oh, I'm staying here because of the kids to make it work. The kids know you're not happy. They know that you're not happy. They can feel it. And the only person that you're really satisfying is yourself.
So this is my issue. And again, views and opinions of Warriors Talk is solely a Rizal, and you got to always put that disclaimer. Kids are growing up fast, but they are getting grown faster. And one of the things that I see, they keep as parents, as grown folks, as adults, we keep putting our kids into grown folks' business. We keep, and sometimes it's okay to let them know, but we're making them grow up too fast when it comes to relationships and all these things that's going on. We want to talk to them as friends and not as parents. I don't think that I want to be my child's friend. I am your parent. I am here to guide you until you're able to do it on your own. Until then, you will go by my rules and so forth underneath my roof. So where do we cut those ties, like try to cut those ties with the kids? And, because they see us going through stuff. Like you said, they see mommy and daddy when they had an argument because mommy got the tears in her eyes and she's hurt because daddy undid something or whatever the case. Do you really sit there and have a grown conversation with your child about what's going on in your relationship?
You talk to the child at their level. Whatever age group they're in, that's the conversation that you have with them. I want to read Jerry's comment. She says, good evening. Listen, I've seen it. Some parents can't get past the breakup or what they went through. It's a hot mess and the kids is stuck in the middle. And it's really sad. The kids get stuck in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
You should not be having a conversation with your child about what's going on in your relationship. Now, I understand if y'all getting divorced and y'all separating, and then you want to have that conversation with the child. Yes, you have that conversation so they will know what's going on. Should you be giving them a play-by-play about what's going on in your relationship? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You talk to that child on their level. Whatever is appropriate for their age group, that's the conversation that you have with them.
Well, sometimes you don't have to. Kids are nosy. They hear it, especially if there's a lot of yelling and screaming going on. I'm quite sure they decipher what's happening and what's going on just from what they hear, because you got a whole shouting match going on in the other room and they hear it. So they know the conversation. Sometimes you ain't even got to explain what's happening. They hear it. So
And that's another thing. You should not be arguing in front of the kids. You should not be having arguments to where they can hear you. Find a time and a place to where y'all can go and discuss that. They should never see you. I mean, I'm not going to, kids need to know that, people disagree and then people can work it out. But having a blown out shouting match, no. But they need to see that people disagree, and then they have, these situations to where they can sit and talk and work it out.
So we're going to have a designated time for when we're going to begin shop. So at 4 p.m., like in school, they said 3 o'clock, you meet me here, in front of the flagpole, it's going to go down. So us as parents, we should say 4 o'clock, we're going to have our argument. That thing that we was discussing last night, because we didn't want to do it in front of Junior and Princess. Meet me at the flagpole and we can have it go down. We'll do our shouting match there.
Yep. You are the same person.
Designated
Yes.
arguing. We got to get a name for it.
You are the same person that said you would have your discussions on date night. If y'all get into argument, you will wait until date night to discuss it. That's the same thing. We're going to discuss this at a certain time. I'm saying don't fight in front of the kids. Don't have a shouting match in front of the kids. If you have to discuss it at a different time, if both of y'all have to go get in the car and take a drive, then do that. But you don't do that in front of the kids. You can have disagreements in front of the kids, show them how to resolve it, but a shouting match, no.
First off, we having an argument. I ain't trying to even let you get in the car. I'm trying to put you in front of the car.
That's when you dial 911. 911, come get this fool. Because it's not about to go down. Okay. Let me read this comment. So Jerry said, so true. Kids are getting grown quick. And you are so right. Kids don't need to know everything going on in grown folks' relationships. That's true. Kenya says that's the problem now. These adults put kids in their business. Stop putting these kids in your business. They should know everything that's going on. If you guys are tuning in, we are live on Intellectual Radio, and we are talking about co-parenting, peaceful co-parenting. Is it possible? So share the show, invite somebody else in on the show. I appreciate your comments. These kind of conversations need to be had because we know individuals who are out here co-parenting and it's not peaceful. And then we do know people who are peacefully co-parenting. I look at some of the stars who are peacefully co-parenting, like you have Will and Jada when they was co-parenting with Will's son Trey. You have Alicia Keys with Swiss Beats and his ex-wife. You have Jennifer Lopez with her kids. So you have people who do or who can, peacefully co-parent, but it takes communication for one. You have to be able to communicate with each other in order to do it. Again, you have to be fair, you have to be respectful, you have to be consistent in what you say. And a lot of times we don't. Are they putting names? Oh, Felicia Frazier. Oh, I don't know who that is though. Okay, these are people they're naming who are peacefully co-parenting, or are y'all tagging people? I think she's tagging people in here to listen. So there are people who are making it happen, but I think these people have set their pride to the side and they have really focused on the child or the children. We're doing it for them. And so if we have to, explain to the people that we with, this is what we're doing. Because some people are going to look at you like you're crazy. Like, we're going over here to do what? All of us going to eat together. We're going to go to an amusement park together. We're functioning as a family. And I was listening today to a podcast where the guy was saying like, the one person was getting married and he was doing a collage of pictures. But in the pictures, you only saw the mother and the father, like in the baby picture with the child. But as the child got grown, they were all in separate pictures. It's like, why can't we take a picture together as a family, so that the kids can have something? It's like we're getting into our adult ways. Like, oh no, those are the adults that does that. It's not the kid. Because if the child had their way, we would be taking the pictures together.
Well, sometimes the child,
Kenya,
they request that, can we all take a picture? The child want everybody to be together. But the differences between the two parents is what draws the line for those pictures to be taken or taking place. So I can't remember who it was, but there was kids involved and they had everybody. And they went on vacation, and I forgot who it was. They went on vacation all together as a family with the new girlfriend, the mother, the father, her husband, his new wife, or whatever the case, and the child. They all went on one big vacation. I know that had to be very awkward, but again, they made it work. If it works for them, and they did it for the sanctity of the child and to save the sanity of the friendship and what they had, if it works for you, it works for you.
I think you have to go the extra mile. You have to go the extra mile to make it work, because this is a person that you probably planned on not seeing once y'all broke up. Like, I don't want to see this person again. Now you're like, oh, we have this child, so I have to see this person. So I think you have to go that extra mile and really put your pride to the side and say, you know what? This is really for my child. I want my child to have a balanced life growing up. It's just so much going on with, everything in the world. And the one thing that you can control is just us being present in this child's life. So I do want to pose a question to those of you who are listening. What do you think is the biggest challenge in creating a peaceful co-parenting relationship? Like, what are some of your thoughts that this is why, they can't do it? Or what do you think you can do to create a peaceful relationship? So let me know what your thoughts are on that, because it can be done. Because, Kenya said maturity. Absolutely. That's one of the first steps in order for you to even consider, let's do this. Let us co-parent without trying to put yourself first, thinking that it's all about you. You got to be mature to even want to do it.
That definitely is that's maturity is definitely up there. I'm waiting to hear some more of the comments also, because, my mind, it just totally thinks differently, but that's a good thing sometimes.
You have to seek to be fair. Like, don't keep score. A lot of times we keep score on what we're doing. So don't do that. Don't, just be fair. Can you say respect? You have to respect each other.
True. So we got maturity, respect. What else? Is Kenya the only person out there?
No, it's 7 people listening. So all 7 of y'all, do me a favor, share the show, invite somebody in, and comment. It's on there. Yeah, comment, you guys, and let me know what you think about, how can you create a successful co-parenting relationship? Like, what are some of the things that, need to be in place in order for you to do that? Because it can be done. We do see people doing it. Jerry says, like you said, the adults need to put their pride to the side and put the child first. It's all about the child. Stop thinking that it's about you. It's not about you. Once that kid was born, it's not about you anymore. It's about, what's the best interest of the child. Wanda B says, we have a great co-parenting situation. We have to learn to communicate in a healthy fashion. We also both agree to put our child first. And that's the key. When you do that, it's going to work. Hey, Lisa, thank you for joining. We're talking about peaceful co-parenting. Is it possible? Kenya said communication. That is like really at the top of the list. I was waiting for that one. It's at the, you have to be able to have a peaceful conversation with your co-parent without getting upset, without dismissing what that person has said. You got to be able to have those communications to where we're getting stuff done. We may not always agree, but what we're going to agree on is what's in the best interest of our children. And that's the main thing. So
communication is definitely one of the keys. But when you got something that could have been very, very, very offensive to the other person, say whatever the offense is caused what you two to break up. You don't want to say one word to this person. You loathe this person. You can't stand this person. You want this person, well, I'm not going to say dead because ain't no coming back from death, but you want something horrible to happen to this person just because of what they did to you. So it's going to be hard to communicate when you have those feelings, that bitterness, and that whole aura that's surrounding you. You don't want nothing at all to do with that person. And you're just, you get to the point where, like, I don't care what you do. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you. I don't want to be you. It's a lot of hatred going on.
This is not about you. It's about the child. So who cares? The relationship didn't work out. Get over it. This is not about you and I anymore. You and I are over. This is about the child. I'm not with you anymore. It's not going to happen. It's about the child. So go get you some help so you can get over whatever it is that you need to get over. It's about the child. Hey, Red, thank you for joining. I appreciate you.
Like I know.
Wanda said they need therapy. That person needs help.
They need therapy. But like I know, when a person sees that person who they know did them wrong, there's a lot of triggers that start to happen that they start flashing back and see. All the therapy in the world sometimes can't help.
Yes, it will.
Once they see that person.
It'll help. That therapy will help. Because it's something that's within you that's not healed. That's why you're having those. Get out of your emotions. Stop trying to control the situations with your emotions. Get you some help and learn how to get rid of those triggers or learn how to address those triggers. Because it's something that's not resolved. But what you're not going to do is control this situation because you're not healed. I'm not here for you. I'm here for the child. And that's what we're going to address, the child. If you have issues on your own, you go get help so that you can be healthy and whole for this child. I need you to carry your weight for this child. It's not about you. It's not about who I'm dating. It's not about our past. Stop bringing up the past when we're trying to move forward with this co-parenting.
So, peaceful parents bring peaceful co-parenting.
It's all about peaceful. And if we can't do it on our own, then we're going to bring somebody in to get help. If you can't stand to look at me whenever we get together and we're dropping off the kids and it's hindering our progress to try to make this look normal for the child, you need to get some help. I wanted to say it's not healthy to hold in those emotions. Your child can pick up on their negative energy. That's so true.
Yeah.
Kenya, it's about the kids. It's about the kids. Jerry says, laugh out loud. Some folks don't think that they need therapy. A lot of adults have an attitude of forget the kids. It's all about them. Oh my goodness, Jerry.
That's what I was trying to say. I know it's all about the kids, but you're going to have some adults that's not going to think like that. This person hurt me. This person did X, Y, and Z, and it's not going to be about the kid. It happens.
And therapy happens. So go and get it. So that you can be the best example that you can for that child. That child, if you're the one that's in the way of that child having a relationship with the other parent and they know that, they're going to resent you for that. And guess what? When they get of age to where they can leave and go be with that other parent, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. So you have to take responsibility for your own self. And if you're having issues with yourself, if you're having issues with this whole co-parenting thing, then go get some help. I can't stress it enough.
So can you imagine some of the parents who already is struggling with the other parent, that they have one child together and then they end up sleeping together and end up having two children in the mix now? Because I've seen couples who just couldn't stand each other, but yet y'all having kids because, I want my children all to have the same father or something. So you're going to put yourself back through that whole situation and through this, you up there trying to camouflage like ain't nothing, like everything is good.
It's about
and
them.
You just popping out kids from this man.
That's about them. They were satisfying their needs. Had nothing to do with the kids. But Wanda just shut the whole thing down. She says once they get therapy, they will learn the art of forgiveness for their sense of their own peace. When you learn to forgive that other person, you can have peace. Let it go. Red said they have an issue then. Exactly. Stop being so bitter. Walk away from that. Get over it. Life ain't going to always go your way. The child is here, and that's what we're focused on. That's what we're focused on.
Yes.
Exactly, Kenya. Straight foolishness. It is. I don't have time for
But it
that. I don't have
happened.
time.
When I
I don't have time for that. Jerry says, listen, the very parent that act like this experienced type of behavior when they were kids from their parents,
we know
and the
we
cycle
know
continues.
that there's more dysfunction that happens than there is therapy that's going to happen. Now, people are more starting to gravitate towards therapy because they see that it's needed. But that's only when they get to a certain point. They see that they're not mature enough to hold it. But overall, the dysfunction outweighs it.
It doesn't make it right.
What Jerry say?
It doesn't make it right. I read her comment when you was frozen, Rizal.
Oh.
And we talked about stop venting to the kids. Don't vent to the kids about anything. You should not be arguing in front of the kids. You should not be trying to control the other parent. You should be trying to control your actions and working together with that parent, not trying to control. So I'm going to talk about three keys for peaceful co-parenting. Hold on, let me see. Wanda says, don't use the kids as a pawn. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Again, one parent does not have more control over the kids. It's equal. It's equal. You both are parents. There would not be the kid without the mother and without the father. So you need both people. So stop doing that. So the first key for a peaceful co-parenting is to put your personal differences to the side. Again, both parents are equal. And like Wanda said, forgiveness is essential for peace. You need that forgiveness. Forgive yourself, forgive the other person, and move on. The kids can't have security if you're always dwelling in the past. You're not going to be able to move forward.
True. And that ain't just with the kids. That's life, period.
And the greatest lesson that you can give your child is to operate in peace. So the second key is to create recreational time together for the kids. And I know some people may not want to do that, but fun times relieve stress. Allow the parents to come together and build positive friendships. Now we're on friendship because we're not together. So let's try to work on a friendship together. And the child should be able to see that.
Yeah, you're making memories together. Yeah, why not taking them to Six Flags or go ahead, pop off at Busch Gardens or something, whatever's in your area of town, go to the beach together. If you're co-parenting. And of course, if y'all single, because those new spouses, they may not go for it.
Bring them with you. It's not about those. Those are your boundaries.
It's about the child.
Those are your boundaries that you set with them. I'm co-parenting with this person. This is something that we are doing with the child. You want to come along? You can. If you don't, oh well, I'm going.
So, question. Wait a minute. I want you to finish your last one, and then I got a question if I can remember it till then.
So the last one was understanding the common goal, which is the success of the child. The child is the number one priority. And Kenya said that, we do have kids that are very manipulative. They will try to use one parent against the other. But if you and that parent are communicating with each other and y'all are on the same page, then the child will not have a chance to do that. So that's why you have to be on the same page. You have to communicate with each other to say, don't let the child come, well, dad said I could do this, mom, but and you like, no, what? Okay, let me talk to dad and see what's that about versus you trying to be the good parent and you can go do that. Go ahead. You're trying to have one up on the other parent. No, don't do that.
Oh yeah. They definitely be playing us out. They'll go ask one and say, well, mom said such and such. Well, I said no. And it's like, okay, who's going to trump who? And who should I take? Because one said one thing, one said the other. So now it's a whole big argument. And you two, it's like, well, why don't you? And now a whole big thing broke out. So yeah, definitely kids are manipulative.
So co-parent as a team. Make sure that the decisions you make benefits the child. It's not benefiting you. It's not benefiting the other co-parent, but it's benefiting the child. What's in the best interest of the child? And then that's what we do.
So question, because I know we're running out of time. So if I'm in a young lady's life and I've met her child, but she's supposed to be co-parenting with the other parent, with the guy, but he's MIA. He's not there. What am I to do? Am I supposed to step up because he stepped down? Am I supposed to fill that void of those shoes? And now, it's like that weight is now on my shoulders. Am I supposed to be that man, that parenting and guide this young man or this young lady in the direction that she needs to go with this young lady who's not a guarantee that I'm gonna spend my life with or be there for or anything like that? That puts you, I think, in a kind of a tough scenario, in a tough situation.
That depends. I would talk to the child's parent and say, hey, I understand that, the dad is not here. I want to play a role. What role is it that you want me to play? Because you don't want to overstep your boundaries. You don't want to, if you're with that person and you love that person, then you're gonna accept those kids. And it's not going to be a question of what should I do? You're just going to do. You're just going to do. I'm not saying that you got to go all out like you're the dad, but if you care about that person, then you care about those kids.
Yeah. And then you got to wait for the kid because the kid got to accept you.
Don't try to force the kid. Let it happen organically.
Exactly.
Just be there. Just be present. And that's a lot right there because the other parent is not. Just be present. Just be consistent with what you do and what you say. I want to say he is not co-parenting. Don't go trying to be a parent if she didn't. Don't try to be a parent if she didn't want that. Exactly. Ask. Talk. Have that conversation and figure out what it is that she wants. If she says, no, they got a dad already. Then you be there for her. But again, be consistent. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Be present.
Yeah, they may have a dad, but he's not there like I'm there. We're together. So there may be a situation where, we can't wait to call dad to see what he said. I'm the adult here. I'm the main that's here in the situation.
If dad is not there, we're not even considering asking him anything. It's on the mom. And if you're living in the house, say if you're in the house with her, then yeah, you have a say so. That's the conversation that you should be having with her. I'm in this house. Their dad is not around. I'm the dad that they see. Let's figure out how we're going to discipline them. Let's figure out what we're going to do for the kids, and go from there. If the dad comes around, we'll deal with that at that time. But this is how we're going to do it right now. Red said it might take more time with the kids depending on their age. That's true. That is so true. Yes, you can step up if the mother is okay with it. You got to ask the mom to see if the mom. This was a great subject. You guys, please like and share this show. Invite and get somebody else, because we all know somebody who's co-parenting the wrong way. And then we know people who are peacefully co-parenting. So we know that it's possible to do. It's possible to do, especially if you set the hurt aside, set your anger to the side. You can't do it with that. And you have to be able to communicate with that partner, parent as a team, and then make sure that your visits, your transitions with the child, make sure that it's peaceful and that you're not trying to stress out the other child, the other parent. Because a lot of times we try to do it. All right, Rizal, we, of course, are out of time.
As always.
So you guys, this was a great topic, and I appreciate your comments and you sharing the show and just being willing to be vulnerable and share what you have went through. I appreciate that. So I'll leave you with these words of wisdom. At the end of the day, the positive involvement of the parent is the most overwhelming success for the child. You set the tone in that child's life. So thank you so much for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell. Co-hosting with me today is Rizal Gilmore. Join me next Monday right here at 6 p.m. on Intellectual Radio. With Warriors Talk, we are changing lives, one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1 on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on IntellectualRadio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.